And I'm going to describe my data acquisition process for my LiDAR scanning. So first, I just want to review a preview of my target that I did. So I did the Jim Henson statue in front of Stamp, and I just want to highlight some key features of this scan that I was able to pick up. So obviously I tried to get the bench and then general features like Jim Henson's body, his head, the basis of Kermit's body, but there were also some key features that I was able to pick up with my scan, and that includes Kermit's arm right here, as well as his legs hanging over the bench. And I was even able to get his mouth being open in my 3D point cloud. I was able to get Jim Henson's arms. I was able to get a little bit of this arm, but I was able to get a lot of his hands sticking out here. And I was even able to get his the concept of his legs being crossed right here. So there was a lot of key features that I was able to get with this scan. I wanted to get a 360 view of it as there wasn't anything blocking me from doing this. This took a lot of scans as I did a very close-up. My scope of my camera was close because I wanted to be able to get key features, but then again that led to a lot of scans. So I'll show how some of this went. So first I want to talk about the initial scan, and this was for when I did it a previous week for homework 7. As I noted in that video, I forgot to take an actual time lapse of me recording that scan, but I went back and just showed how this process is performed. So you can see the tripod, the rig, and then the laser and Pi camera. And I moved it up 2 degrees at a time, taking an image each time, and then of course recording the angle with my phone. And this was the basis for how I performed all of my scans. And as you can see here, this is a real-time scan that I did on kind of the left side of the bench and a close-up view of Kermit. So again, I'm moving it 2 degrees at a time, recording it, and continuing this process. So I ended up doing this process for the whole statue, and this took up about 8 separate scans. So the first scan that I did was Jim Henson, just to get the front features of him, including his legs being crossed and his arm kind of sticking out. And then I wanted to get a front left view because I wanted to fill in this gap for a lot of the bench at the front left. And then I did a close-up of Kermit because it was hard to get his features without being close-up, so I really just focused on Kermit himself for one of the scans. Then I moved to the left side to get the left side of the bench and this pillar right here, as well as this side of Jim Henson and Kermit. For the back right, I just wanted to show essentially I wanted to pair this with the previous scan to show this, the end of the bench right here, as well as just get the general back of it. And then I did the back middle, which helped me also get the back of Kermit as well in this scan. And then I moved on to the back left, and this helped me get the back of Jim Henson's head and his shoulders, as well as the back of the bench. Finally, I did the right side, which helped me get the right side of the bench, but it also helped me get a lot of Jim Henson's back, his side. And so again, I took close-up scans of all of these, but it helped me really get all the key features of it and try to minimize the gaps in it. So then I'll go through how this went. These are images taken off my Raspberry Pi camera showing my scanning process. So the first scan that I took that was part of homework 7 was the front side of Jim Henson. Again, as you can see here, I really just am focusing on the features of Jim Henson himself, and I was able to get a lot of this. Then I moved on to a close-up of Kermit to kind of get his key features, and as you can see, I'm able to get, it's very faint, but I'm able to get his arm right here, as well as his mouth being open, as I'm able to get a good view of his head. And this is just showing me getting his legs sticking out over the bench, as well as his torso. Then I moved on to the left side of the statue, and here you can see I get a lot of, this is where I get the left side of the bench. I move up, I get a little bit of the seat and a lot of the pillar. But also an important part of this scan was getting the essentially the front facing side of Jim Henson. As you can see here, it's scanning over his body and showing key features of him. And I was able to even get a little bit of Kermit on this side, which was important for getting a 360 view of Kermit. Then I moved to the back side, and this was essential again for getting just the back, filling in a lot of the back of the seat itself, but also it was important for getting the back of Kermit, as I noted, because as you can see here, I was able to, and I got a little bit of Jim Henson's head here too, but again, I was able to really get a really good scan of Kermit right here, and this is where I think my Raspberry Pi camera being below my laser really helped, as it's kind of looking up, so there was some ambient light on the other side of this, but having this my Pi camera at this position really helped me mitigate this light and focus on the laser. And then I moved on to the right side of the statue, which helped me get a lot of this, helped me get not only the bench, but a 360 view of Jim Henson. As you can see here is the laser scans over his body, and I'm able to pick up on a lot of it. And again, this should be noted, there is some ambient light in all of my pictures, because as you can see here, there's ambient light here. I think there's ambient light back here. It should be noted that I didn't use any blankets or anything to cover this. I eliminated a lot of this noise through actual coding itself, as I was able to. It wasn't really necessary for me to do that, because through masking and removing certain points through MATLAB and really focusing on adjusting color picker, I was able to get rid of a lot of this noise and still get a good scan. So after I did I did this scan for homework 7, and then I did these 4 scans, and I ran them all through a 3D point cloud, and I was pretty happy with what I got, but I realized there were still some gaps in my scan, and that's where I went and did the front left side of the bench, as I just wanted to fill in a lot of this bench here. And I even got a little bit of Kermit too, but the focus was getting the actual bench itself. So these were more of like fillers in a sense. They weren't necessarily getting any like complex features, but there was some parts of the bench that I missed. So here's for the back right side of the statue. Again, there's some noise there, but I was able to eliminate that through code. And so here you can just see I'm getting the outline of the back right side of the bench, and even some of Kermit. Then finally I moved to the back left side, and this was important for also not only getting the bench, but getting this side of Jim Henson's face, and I was able to also get a little bit of his arm sticking out over the bench. So yeah, that's how my data acquisition process kind of went. And next I'll show how I take these JPEG files and move them into a 3D point cloud.